Thank you. You guys may be seated. What is the purpose of life? Why are we here on this planet? This is the number one question that I believe is a mystery to most. That I believe that everybody, every soul, every human being searches for, whether it's consciously or unconsciously. Our soul cries out to figure out what is the purpose of life, what the destiny is for an individual. Well, today, I'm here to break down and make you understand what is the purpose of life. What is your reason for being? What is your purpose on this planet? First and foremost, you must understand. You will not understand your purpose if you do not know thyself. First, you have to understand that you was destined for greatness. You was destined for purpose. How many of you guys believe you was destined for greatness? How many of you guys believe that you was destined for a reason? You was destined for a purpose. So, I'm glad that most of you guys believe that. So let us break down. How do you know thyself? How do you unlock your reason for being? You see, everybody in here, everybody in the world has gifts, talents, and abilities. And God created us for this reason, to have these gifts, talents, and abilities for purpose. Not just for ourselves, but for purpose, for reason. You see, our main purpose in life is to use those gifts, talents, and abilities, invest in those gifts, talents, and abilities, and to bless those within your realm of influence, to make impact on the realm that God has placed you underneath the lordship of Jesus Christ. You see, you cannot know your purpose if you do not know yourself and if you do not know God. You see, God has given us His Spirit to divinely do these things. We can't do it if the Spirit within you is not activated. And the Spirit within you is the true you, your authentic self, your reason for being. You see, a lot of people are going through the motions of life. They don't have a purpose. They don't understand who they are. So they're just doing everything in their own power to figure out their purpose in life. But you need to understand your purpose is not your purpose for being. Your purpose is God's purpose. You have to operate under His kingdom agenda. You see, He has put us on this earth to govern this earth. But the problem is that mankind has took it in their own power to govern it how they want to govern it. For example, God created Adam and Eve, man and woman. But mankind wants to alter what God has designed. Now we see men and men, woman and woman. That's against the divine nature of God. That's against God's purpose. Now, when things are going against God's purpose and God's nature, things become chaotic. Things become confusing. Things don't flow smoothly how it's supposed to flow. You see, God created a design, a purpose for us to follow. And when we don't follow that, we're going to go through life empty, incomplete. We're going to go through life feeling fearful. Everything we do, everywhere we go, We're going to go through life, a confused life, a life of chaos, destruction, dysfunctionality. See, these are the things that happen when we go against the nature of God, when we go against his divine purpose. But when we follow his divine purpose, things go smoothly in perfect harmony. Because now your spirit is connected with his spirit and connected to the universe, which makes us all one. We tend to have the same mindset as God and apply the things of God on this earth, on this planet. You see, we was created for impact. We was created for greatness. God created us to live a life of love. Love is the main foundation of everything in life. No matter what religion you're in, no matter what you're doing in life, whether you're in a sport team, whether you're at work, nothing cannot operate without love. You see, God created us to live a life of love. He created us to live a life of peace, to live a life of joy, to live a life of abundance and prosperity. He gave us all these things. Everything on this earth is here for us. We wasn't meant to live a life of anger, a life of confusion, a life of fear. We wasn't meant to live a life that's chaotic, that's going to bring us down, and a life of bitterness and unforgiveness. This is not God's design. This is not how we was created. You see, everybody in life has a dual nature. And we must understand this dual nature in order to know thyself. You have to understand that you have a flesh, you have a sinful nature, which is the carnal mind, which is always against God. You can't do the things of God. You can't operate the way you're supposed to operate on this planet if you're operating by the sinful nature. But we also have the Spirit, the beautiful, perfect Spirit, which gives us the power, the ability to live a life of love, the ability to have peace, the ability to have joy, the ability to have self-control in our lives, self-control over our thoughts, self-control what comes out of our mouths. Because we have the ability to speak life and we have the ability to speak death. We can speak life over our own life, and we can speak life over somebody else's life, and we can speak life over a circumstance or situation. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be a problem you're having in school. You're trying to pass a grade or a test. Speak life. It could be a broken relationship or a marriage. Speak life. A dysfunctional family. Speak life. A sickness. Speak life to it in the name of Jesus. And I guarantee you, whatever seemed dead will rise, will come to life. All you have to do is speak life. Once you know who you are, once you know that you have the ability and the power within you to do these things, life becomes a lot easier. I'm not saying problems is not going to come towards your way, but life becomes a little bit easier. Because when those problems come, you will have the strength. You will have the peace. You will have the perseverance, endurance. You will have everything that you need to go through that problem. And you will see that that problem will not only make you stronger, it will make you wiser. Not only will it make you wiser, but it will make you better. Once you know who you are, you must invest in who you are. So, what do I mean in investing in who you are? For example, if your gift and abilities and talents is singing, invest in singing. Do everything in your power to reach your full potential. Do everything in your power to invest what God has given to you. Invest in your gifts. Because once you invest in gifts and you reach your full potential, God will take you to a whole another level. Because the next thing is to make impact. Because God created us for a reason. God didn't create us for ourselves. God created us to serve. God created us to give. God created us to bless. To be a blessing. So if you're a speaker or a teacher, you use that gift, that talent and ability to help others. To help others grow to their full potential. This is what life is about. To know thyself, invest in thyself, and then teach others what you know. Help them grow to where they're supposed to be. One thing I know is when I didn't know who I was, I noticed my life was always chaotic. I noticed I was always living in fear, insecurity, which broke a lot of my relationships. I was living a life of dysfunctionality. I wasn't prospering in anything that I did because I was doing things my way. I didn't understand that I had a purpose in life. I didn't understand what the purpose of life was. So I was going through the motions of life. You see, when you don't know who you are, you will always go through the motions of life with no purpose. I was in a sad state of mind. I was in mental prison, emotional prison. But when I found out who I was, when I knew God created me for a reason, when I knew that I was destined for greatness, when I knew I had a purpose in this life, I started to live a life of love. I started to make impact. I started to have peace in my heart, peace in my mind. I started to live a life of joy. I started to have self-control over my mind, over my thoughts and what comes out of my mouth and my actions. I had self-control over everything in my life because I know who I was. Because I know I had purpose. Because I know I was destined for greatness. You was destined for greatness. You are put on this earth for a reason. You have the power within you. Don't look at it that you have power. Don't let things outside of you give you power. Don't let things outside of you seem like they can give you power. Because nothing outside of you can give you power. Because the power lies within you. You see, there are many things in life that mold and shape who we are. But they're not who we are. Defining moments can mold and shape your self-concept. A defining moment can be a death in the family, or you could have got abused as a little child. Whatever the situation that molded and shaped you, who you are today. A critical choice you made in life, that can mold and shape who you are today. But it doesn't mean that's who you are. It could have been a bad choice, it could have been a good choice. But these are things in life that mold and shape